Suzy, welcome to the She Achieved podcast. I am so excited to have you here with me today because not only are you a rock star in our community and our region, you are also an avid listener of the podcast. So that gets me really excited. I know that you have really enjoyed learning and about other ladies and also listening a lot when you're on the road and giving me the feedback and encouragement. But I am so grateful to have you here with me today because you are a true inspiration. And so to be able to tell your story, because I don't think many people realize we all have a story,
Yeah.
and you have an amazing story to share. So I'm excited to have you here with me. So thank you and welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. I am super excited and representing today with my shirt because I really do. On my drive to Memphis, I have about an hour and a half commute. Sometimes when I go to the office, I listen to the stories of these amazing women in Northeast Mississippi. Absolutely love the podcast and appreciate all that you do to make this happen.
Before we jump into the meat and potatoes of where you're currently at and all of the exciting projects that you have going on, let's give our listeners a little bit of your background and just a little bit about yourself before we jump into all of that.
Sure. Well, born and raised in Mississippi, have never left. Lived here all my life. Born in Benton County in a small little town called Ashland, Mississippi. Raised by just amazing parents who really modeled to me leadership. I had a father who is in public service, who had a very prestigious career here in Mississippi, has done amazing things for Mississippi, and I got to watch that as I grew up. So that really kind of led me into wanting to do, something in public service, and then grew up with a lot of educators in my home, so that also made me have a heart for education. And kind of took a bunch of different career pathways to kind of get to where I feel like I'm in my dream fit now, and so that story and my career pathway has been kind of wild, but it's really kind of led me to where I am today. Married and been married for 22 years to my husband Bo, who is a tennis pro in New Albany, and that's where we live now. We live in New Albany, Mississippi. Absolutely love it. Wonderful place to raise a family. I have a 16-year-old Bradyn and an 11-year-old Brace, and they're both wild and crazy boys. And also, we're just a huge tennis family. So that's like a whole other hat that we wear is our love for tennis.
I love it. So you've already mentioned it, the numerous different positions in your journey to where you are today. Let's talk a little bit about that. What were you doing when you began your career?
I guess really I started out in kind of the world of coaching, and fell in love with coaching tennis. Didn't grow up playing tennis, but married a tennis pro, so like I had to kind of learn how to play tennis, and just absolutely fell in love with it. And then as I was approached to coach the high school tennis team almost 10 years ago, just that's where a lot of my leadership skills really came to the surface, because in coaching's tough. And so I coached just a wonderful group of kids, and we got to win multiple state championships. I actually never not played for a state championship, so I don't know what it's like. I don't like to lose. I'm very competitive, but I also coached an amazing group of kids who were also competitive and loved the sport. So they worked really hard for me, and again, coaching taught me so many lessons. So really, that started my kind of trail of leadership was my coaching career.
That is so interesting. First of all, I have to say, you're petite in build. You're so sweet and kind, and just to hear you say my leadership and all the work that I do, I'm super competitive. It's I wouldn't pick that up if I didn't know you and you had shared that, and that is so unique because we all. Our skills and talents come in all different shapes and sizes and experiences. And for you to say that, I really wouldn't have known that unless you were like, I'm a true competitive spirit here.
Right. No, the competitive part of me stays deep down inside, and then it just comes out in tennis. But coaching really brought it out in me too. And it wasn't really the love for winning. It was just that love of competition. I love to see the kids bring out this their leadership skills through tennis and through sports. And for some, it comes very naturally. They're natural born leaders on the court, and then some, it really took a coach or a leader or a mentor to pull it out of them. And once you get a kid to like realize their potential, it is just amazing to watch it all kind of unfold. So that's really where my love for coaching and competitiveness comes from.
My daughter was in one of your camps.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you unique and stand out is your approach to how you get the kids there.
Mm-hmm.
You make it really fun.
Yes.
You are not someone who is going to be abrasive
Mm-hmm.
or yelling at your kids.
Right.
Your love really oozes out, and that speaks volumes too, because you really kind of pull in there and pull it out of them because of your love for the sport and everything you just mentioned. But the kids love it as well, and they connect with you on a different level.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you saying that, because one of my favorite quotes is John Maxwell said, "Leadership looks a lot like loving people." And that's really all I did. I wasn't like some amazing, high school tennis coach that taught like all kinds of, wonderful drills and stuff like that. We did a lot of, fundamentals and stuff like that. But really, I just loved the kids. And like when you have that connection with the kids, they want to do their very best for you. So I really appreciate you saying that. I've coached hundreds and hundreds of kids all over. Some are playing, large tournaments over in Columbia right now, and some are in D1, D2. Many have gone on to play college tennis, and that really means a lot to me, that I was one of the first people that instilled that love of the game for them in their lives. So it's really exciting.
Can you share with us a particular challenging moment in your journey to where you're at now, and how did you overcome it?
I would probably go back to coaching there too. Coaching is not easy. There were a lot of decisions that I had to make in coaching that lost me friendships, and I hated that. I mean, that you never want to hurt a child or a family, having to make decisions about starting positions or where people play in the lineups or anything like that. But when you coach a really competitive squad, like I did have to make those tough decisions, and it would eat me up. I mean, I hated it. I'm a people pleaser to my core. Always want everybody to be happy and know that they're loved, but in return, you have to make tough decisions sometimes in coaching, and really it taught me a lot about who my real friends are, and that's kind of tough. I lost some friends along the way, but gained a lot of friends too. So, and you hear my kind of voice break a little bit because it is hard. I never meant to hurt anybody, but I know I did. But I also made a lot of great friends through the sport, and I'm proud of the legacy that I left behind.
Okay, Suzy. So we started out with your coaching career. And my opportunity to get to know you is when you started focusing on the educative part in your career.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about your journey after your coaching career and you transitioned into the education world.
Yes. So the wonderful and fabulous Christy Luce gave me the job, that absolutely set my soul on fire for education as a career coach for the Create Foundation. Absolutely loved my time there. The impact that I felt like I had at New Albany was something that I wanted to see scale. And so though it was really hard to step away from the Create Foundation and go work for Accelerate Mississippi, I wanted to see the impact that we were having there with the Northeast Mississippi career coaches, see that expand, across the state. So that led me to my job with Accelerate, and back to the Create Foundation. What we have done here in North Mississippi has and will leave a legacy for many generations to come with the Create career coaches and what they've done. The foundation, when I even worked with the ARC Leadership Institute, people from all other states, New York, West Virginia, and all the states that across the Appalachian region are saying, what are y'all doing in Mississippi? You have career coaches in every high school that are helping guide students to career pathways. It's amazing. So working for the Create Foundation placed me in New Albany High School, And that came in where I got to work under amazing leadership with Dr. Lance Evans, who really brought out leadership skills in me by showing me his vision and letting me execute. And I'll always be kind of thankful for that. He help me start an internship program there at the high school that impacted many kids, called Impacto, that's still going strong to this day, and it has also been replicated across the state, in many other school districts too.
So you mentioned several positions that you have had in a fairly short amount of time. Mm-hmm. Talk to us a little bit about the courage to really go after the next step in your journey when you are presented with opportunities.
Right. It really was hard to make a decision to leave what I was absolutely loving and thriving in with Create, with being a career coach in the New Albany School District. But there's something in me that just said this needs to impact more kids. So when I was approached to come and be the workforce coordinator for the Northeast Mississippi region, it let me step out of just Union County and broaden that to 13 more counties in my region. So I was really thankful for that. It helped me really kind of see, what we were doing in New Albany was wonderful, but it needed to be replicated in many other different areas. So I was able to kind of help expand what we were doing to 13 other counties in Northeast Mississippi region, really start to see the needle move.
And what about the transition into your current role?
Yes. So loved my time with Accelerate. There was so much that I learned there. Again, I got to learn how the funding streams work, which is vital. I got to learn where the money is, who controls the money, what are the different pots of money. So there are a lot of great skills that I took from my time at Accelerate. But again, I wanted to kind of, take it and expand it. So when the opportunity came to go work for Junior Achievement, I met my president and CEO, Lee Mansberg. She approached me while I worked at Accelerate, and she said, I'm about to expand into 51 counties in Mississippi, and I need a director. She was like, Mississippi, the Mississippi educational system, you have a passion for this. She was like, come work for me. And that was the first time really that I'd ever been approached, where somebody saw the skill sets that I had and offered me the job without even having to interview, and that was really exciting turning point in my career. So, and it's been an amazing journey so far. I've been there for a little bit over 6 months, and we have just jumped into the fire, and her leading the way has just been instrumental for me. She's really taken me under her wing, and we're going to make this happen.
With so many transitions and changes so quickly, talk to us a little bit about the importance of networking. And you just mentioned, the very last opportunity was where someone saw something in you and thought you would be a perfect fit. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the importance of the relationship building and networking.
Someone asked me one time, I think it was a conference that me, you, and Christy were at in Vegas. I think one time somebody said, "What's your superpower?" And I said, it's relationships, and I think that that was modeled to me through my dad, and the relationships that he built, very bipartisan relationships. He didn't have those clear lines. Everybody loved my dad, and he had relationships on both sides of the party. And I'm thankful that he taught me that, and I've just built relationships across the state now that have really helped elevate my career and allowed me a bigger seat at the table to help children.
You have already touched on this a little bit, mentorship. How has mentorship played a role in your success and where you are today?
Instrumental. I mean, again, I was very fortunate to grow up in a home where wonderful things were modeled for me, and I know that is not in everybody's, a case for everybody, but also just in the people that I have worked with. Christy Luce, just an amazing mentor for me. And even when I think about you, I watch what you do and the things that you do in the community and how you serve, and that is being modeled. And I'm watching that, and I'm trying to learn from you. And, just amazing women across Northeast Mississippi. But, my mother, she's tough as nails. She'll be the person behind the scenes, but she teaches me how to be tough, while my dad teaches me how to be soft and build those relationships, she teaches me how to also take up for myself. And so, like, I'm kind of a good combo of them. You know, again, I mentioned Dr. Evans. You know, he just kind of pushed me into leadership, and he might not have even known he was doing it, but he let me lead. And so, in that, I kind of found a lot of my skill sets. As I, you know, developed the workforce plan for the district with him. And then now, you know, with Lee, I mean, she's just an amazing leader, and I'm watching her, and I'm learning from her, and taking skill sets that I see in her leadership and trying to apply it to my own life.
How do you do it all, Suzy? Because I know you have a lot going on in your personal life.
Yeah.
You have a lot going on professionally. How do you make time for it all and do it in such a beautiful and eloquent way?
Oh, I appreciate that, because sometimes I feel like it is absolute organized chaos. But and I drop the ball sometimes. You know, that is what's tough. And I think I've heard a lot of the women that you've interviewed say the same thing. You know, you pour into other people so much that you forget to pour into yourself a little bit. And I have to give myself some grace sometimes, you know, as a mom and as a wife, and just say I'm really just trying to do the best that I can. But I also wake up every day, and one of the things my dad always says to me, did you help the people today? Did you help the people today? And that's always a question. If I can go to sleep, you know, kind of thinking to myself, did I help the people today? Then I feel pretty good about myself, and just giving myself a little bit of grace that sometimes I need to rest. And I don't do that all the time. My mom always she was like, you've got to rest this weekend, you know, once she kind of watches how my week unfolds, and she's right. So just having those people, you know, kind of around me that just say, you know, look, you're going too hard, take a day, rest, do some things for yourself, you know, just surrounding yourself with really good people.
Have you ever experienced any type of gender bias on your journey where you felt inferior because you are a woman, or someone maybe didn't give you the credit that you deserve, or maybe underestimated you? Like I said, you're petite in nature and you're very sweet. And I'm just curious if you've ever had those negative experiences that maybe caused you to feel less than.
Well, I'll tell you that goes back again to coaching, because it's a very strong male led sport. You know, sports is just a lot of times male led. And so when I came in as a very successful coach for New Albany, and won more state championships than anybody in, you know, in the history of the school, that felt a little weird sometimes around a lot of the male dominated you know, leaders of the group. But they also embraced me, and you know, I'm just kind of one where I just am kind of who I am. I'm unapologetically me. You know, you can like that, or you can step out of my way, and we'll keep moving forward.
I love that. I love it. Okay, what advice would you give to a woman who is maybe thinking about changing or pivoting? You have done that quite a bit.
Yep.
So give us some of your tidbits of how it was, how you were able to make that decision a little bit easier and to help others.
Yeah, these last 3 transitions, I'll tell you, were not easy. Again, especially the last one from Accelerate to Junior Achievement. Was at Accelerate, I figured out a lot about myself, about what I'm really good at and how my skill sets need to be utilized for an organization. And if I didn't feel like that was really happening for me, it was okay. Like, it was okay to pivot. And that doesn't have anything to do with anybody in the organization or anything. I just figured out myself that government wasn't really for me. And so pivoting to the nonprofit world, now I get to put all of the things that I love together in one basket: education, workforce, you know, public service, working with people. So I just had to really figure out me first. And I really, you know, give that advice to people, is figure out where your passion lies, and then find an organization that aligns with your passion. Because if you don't, you're going to feel very unfulfilled. And I've been there. So I'm much happier now knowing that I'm with an organization that fits my skill sets and wants to utilize me for my skill sets.
I love that. Really finding your why and digging deep and figuring out who you are. And if that changes, that's okay too,
That's
right? That advice applies to any stage of your life.
Absolutely.
Because we as women, we evolve, we change, our priorities change, our interests change.
Right.
And the way we look at life just changes based on our experiences. So I love that, Suzy. Thank you. Tell us, how do you measure success?
Really by happiness. I mean, and that maybe I haven't always done it that way, but again, like kind of stepping into my 40s now, I've figured myself out, and I measure my success based on how many people I'm impacting, and am I happy? Am I making other people happy? Am I making other people elevate? By the work that I'm doing, that's really my mission. And if at the end of the day, no matter if that's 50 people or 5,000 children that I impact, that really is how I measure my worth.
How do you stay motivated and resilient when you are faced with setbacks or failures in your world?
Again, that goes back to a little bit of grace. Like, I don't know, I'm pretty hard on myself, so I beat myself up a little bit, and that's okay too. Like, I I say cry it out and then get back to work. It's okay to be critical of yourself, or even to have other people be critical of you. I learned that way too. I've had some people have hard conversations with me about maybe something that I've done, or my personality or something like that. I've actually, instead of getting mad at them, I might get mad at them too, but but I do kind of take their advice and then try to work on myself constantly about how I come off in the world too. Constantly trying to work on myself, and that'll help elevate me in my career, and then also help everybody that I'm impacting as well.
Absolutely. Constant improvement
Hmm.
and self-awareness can go a long way in
Right.
helping us get where we want to be much
Yes.
quicker. What are your future goals and aspirations? What you got cooking? What's next?
Yes. Well, with Junior Achievement, we are just, kind of diving into Mississippi, and I am so excited about this. And I know the work that a lot of the work that you do in the community, that you did with Create before, and even that you're currently doing in your with Cadence Bank, you're going to see the impact of Junior Achievement in Mississippi. We're going to come in and teach financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and work readiness skills to hopefully 200,000 kids, in North Mississippi. And how we're going to do that is just coming in and making a very strategic plan, and partnering with people that we already have in place here in Mississippi. We've got amazing infrastructure of workforce education right now. With Dr. Evans coming in, that's a beautiful opportunity for someone who is very workforce minded, about to lead the state in education. So a lot of it's like a beautiful marriage of opportunity right now happening in Mississippi that's going to impact children. There are still significant gaps that we've got to fill, and financial literacy is one of them. In this current economy that we're in, it is vital that we are teaching people how to thrive in this economy, not just survive, but thrive. And we have got a lot of work to do.
That is so exciting, Suzy. I can see where you're looking forward to that, and seeing
Hmm.
how that's going to make an impact and create a change for years and decades to come, and
Right.
really impact lives here in Northeast Mississippi.
Yes.
If you could tell one thing to your younger self, what
Hmm.
advice would you give yourself?
Oh, again, I think I've said it before, be unapologetically you. I mean, you can show up in the world and make a difference. You don't have to conform to what the world wants you to be. You have skill sets that God has given you, and you have to really, hone those and use those. So I think, you know, the younger generation, I just want them to be able to find out what their skill sets are, and then be able to utilize those to the best of their ability throughout their career. And it took me a while to get there, to figure out what I was good at, so that I could help others. So that would be the advice I would give, is just be unapologetically you.
I love it. Thank you.
Big thing that I see right now is the lack of people wanting to get involved in their community. I think you and I have had this conversation before. It can't just be a handful of us that are doing it all. We burn out really quickly if we don't have help. And so, building up our future youth leaders and community service people. I mean, if you can't pour into your own community, don't complain about it, because there is so much work to be done. There are people who are suffering, there are people who need help. And what are you doing to add value to your community? And if that's something where you just kind of go to your job all day and you go home and you only take care of your family, we'll eventually see a huge gap, happening in our local communities. So I just urge people to step up and find out what your local nonprofits are. Find out how you can serve, even if it's just a few hours a month. Just step up and try to help, because we just really, the handful of us just can't do it alone.
Thank you, Suzy.
Yes.
This was phenomenal. I loved it. I love your story, and I appreciate you making the time to be here with me today.
Thank you, and thank you for all you do, and keep pushing and keep doing the She Achieved podcast. It's making a difference.
Thank you, Suzy.
Yeah.